the rest of her life enriching the city's cultural, academic, and civic fabric. She taught Spanish at Nichols School, and in 1980, she joined the faculty of D'Youville University, my alma mater, where she spent the next 27 years teaching generations of students. At D'Youville, Dr. Carmen taught Spanish and helped to establish the D'Youville Da Vinci High School partnership. Her impact as an educator was immeasurable. I was one of the many students lucky enough to sit in her classroom. In 1997, I participated in a study abroad trip to Panama with Dr. Carmen. As we visited the rainforest and met with the people of the region, she turned to me and out of the blue asked me, "Have you ever thought about getting involved in politics?" I said, "I think about it every day, but I don't know how." She gave me a one-word answer that changed my life forever: volunteer. That moment was a true turning point for me and led me to where I am today. That story, so simple yet so profound, speaks to who she was, a woman who saw people clearly and believed in them completely. She believed that politics is personal, that poetry can be protest, and that identity is not a limitation but a calling. Her own life was proof. As a lifelong author, Olga's work was widely published and deeply personal. Her memoir, Scatter My Ashes Over Havana, captured the pain of her exile and the complexity of her return to Cuba. Her poems appeared in The Nation, The New Republic, The Buffalo News, and even on public artwork throughout Buffalo's West Side, where she lived and wrote until her final days. But Dr. Carmen's commitment to service extended far beyond the classroom or the written word. She was relentless in her advocacy for our community and for people. She served on the Governor's Advisory Committee for Hispanic Affairs. She was a founding member of Western New York's Hispanic and Friends and helped shape Hispanics United of Buffalo. She spent her later years as a certified interpreter for the Board of Parole, all while continuing to write poems and short works. We lost Dr. Olga Carmen last week on July 9th. She passed away just as she lived, surrounded by family. She is survived by her children, Carla and Nathaniel, and her lifelong companion and twin brother, Roberta Carmen. Olga's greatest joy in life was being a grandmother to Gregory, Woodrow, Nicholas, William, Hugh, and Micah, and a proud great-grandmother to Ayla, Penelope, Avery, and Lincoln. She leaves behind a grateful community and countless friends, too many to name, but just to name a few: Michelle Swaggart-Say, Raul and Gino Russi, Mayor Tony Masiello, Judge Raul Figueroa, and Assemblyman Sam Hoyt, and of course, her entire D'Youville University family. Our nation is a better place because of Dr. Olga Carmen. I'm forever grateful that our paths crossed. We honor Dr. Olga Carmen's legacy today, knowing that her spirit lives on through her writings and the lives she touched, including my own. Dr. Olga Carmen will be deeply missed. May she rest in peace. Muchas gracias, mi buena amiga. Te queremos. I yield back.
The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Minnesota, Ms. Fischbach, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to congratulate Joe Jensen on a successful 50-year career serving as a 911 dispatcher. Joe started his career at the Marshall Police Department as a dispatcher and is wrapping it up with Lyon County. His calm voice put people at ease, even during one of the scariest times of their lives. Thank you for your courage, positivity, and service throughout the years. The community will miss you, but they are grateful to you for your making it a better place. Enjoy your well-deserved retirement and the next chapter of your life. Congratulations, Joe. Mr. Speaker, I rise to congratulate Officer Sarah Van Louie on a successful 30-year career at the Marshall Police Force. From the time she was a teenager, Sarah knew she wanted to be a police officer, starting her career as a part-time officer. Over her 30 years Officer Van Louis has had a huge impact throughout her community and especially loved the work she did in the schools. She taught anti-drug classes to hundreds of students and served for 19 years as the Marshall School Resource Officer. Thank you for your courage, compassion, and service. I know Marshall will miss your presence on the force. Enjoy your well-deserved retirement. Mr. Speaker, I rise to congratulate the 2025 Meeker County Farm Family of the Year, the Algrens. Along with their 6 children and a few part-time employees, Rick and Sarah run the dairy. The farm milks 220 cows and raises replacement heifers in Ellsworth Township. While the farm has been in the family for generations, since Rick and Sarah purchased the operation in 2018, the family has invested in new robotic equipment, cover cropping, and a new heifer barn. The family is also active in their community, participating in educational events and even hosting a live nativity scene for the public each December. I am proud to have a family so committed to both responsible agriculture and their community. It is because of family like theirs that our rural communities thrive. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. McBath, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to speak out against the attack on every American's right to a quality public education in this country. Families have been promised the right to send their kids to good public schools, regardless of where they live, how much money they make, or their child's disability. But the careless actions of Secretary McMahon and the Trump administration continue to threaten that promise. From canceling programs dedicated to teaching children with dyslexia, autism, and other disabilities in the middle of the school year, to cutting teacher pay and illegally withholding billions of dollars meant for after-school programs, President Trump and Secretary McMahon are choosing to make it more difficult for your child to get the attention and high-quality education that they deserve at school. They are choosing to miss deadlines and hold your tax dollars hostage, tax dollars meant specifically for our children. This funding is typically released every year before July 1st to ensure that schools are ready to go for the school year that is about to start the next month. It represents at least 10% of federal K-12 funding in every state and almost 15% in my home state of Georgia, almost $225 million. These dollars, appropriated by Congress, are meant to improve student learning and empowerment as well as their achievement, operate before and after school programs, train teachers, and help adult learners go back and finish high school. Just a few weeks ago, on the evening of June 30th, the Department of Education sent out the following message to states, and I quote, "Given the change in administrations, the department is reviewing the funding for these programs and decisions have not yet been made concerning submissions and awards for this upcoming academic year. Accordingly, the department will be issuing grant award notifications obligating funds for these programs on July 1st, unquote. In their own words, they knew this deadline was coming and they missed it anyway. They chose to wait until the last second to notify states and schools that the funding your family relies on to educate your child for the school year that is starting in just a few short weeks is not where it's supposed to be. Instead of being in your child's classroom, your money is sitting in Washington here because the Secretary of Education could not be bothered to meet a deadline that is the difference between a school having an after-school program or not. Funding that is the difference between a child having a safe place to go while they wait for mom or dad to get off work and come get them or not. The Trump administration's failure to release this funding on time is disrupting school and district planning, jeopardizing the education of millions of students, and is forcing layoffs, program delays, and cancellations for students and their families. It is wrong and is completely unnecessary. Last week, I led a letter to the administration signed by 150 members of the House, demanding that the administration follow the law and release this funding, and House Democrats will continue to do everything that we can to make this right for the families who are counting on us every day. There is no legitimate reason that any child or any family in this country should not have to personally deal with program closures and larger class sizes. But that is what the Secretary and President are demanding of parents every single day, that they fail to meet this incredibly basic responsibility. My son Jordan was unfortunately killed in a shooting in 2012, and I miss him every single day. And while my son may be gone, I will never stop being his mother. I will never stop fighting for every child that isn't getting what they truly deserve from our great country. When I came to Congress in 2019, I promised I would never stop fighting to ensure that every kid who grows up here in the United States receives the skills necessary and stays alive long enough to live a decent life, a life that my son never got to truly, fully explore or enjoy. Time and time again, Secretary McMahon and President Trump failed to rise to the challenge, and the American people are the ones who continue to pay the price. No more excuses. Secretary McMahon and this administration must follow the law. An immediate release of the funding meant for our schools, our teachers, and our families. It must happen, and I yield.
The chair now recognizes the individual from New York, Mr. Lawler, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today with a heavy heart to honor the life of little Golda Eisenbach, who was tragically taken from the Muncie community in June. Golda was the beloved 4-year-old daughter of Spring Valley Village trustee Yisrael Eisenbach, a dedicated public servant, and from a cherished Rockland County family. Golda's life was cut short in a tragic accident caused by a drunk driver, a painful reminder of how one reckless choice can shatter lives. What should have been a peaceful end to a day playing at the park with her family and friends ended in heartbreak. My thoughts and prayers are with the Eisenbach family as they continue to mourn their precious daughter's life. Golda brought so much light and love to her family. My prayers are also with the other victims of this senseless accident who are still recovering. May Golda's memory be a blessing, and may her loved ones find peace in the strength of the community surrounding them. Mr. Speaker, I rise to honor the life of Herman S. Geis, a Westchester County legend and a true public servant. Herman was the first ever chairman of the Westchester County Board of Legislators, and he helped build the foundation of local government in our region for years to come. A decorated World War II veteran, he came home and spent his life working to strengthen his community, from protecting our parks to supporting health care and preserving New York's history. He led with humility, integrity, and purpose, and Westchester is better because of him. To his family, thank you for sharing Herman with all of us. His legacy lives on in the institutions he strengthened, the people he mentored, and the county that he helped shape. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the life of an extraordinary Putnam County resident, Patricia Patty Rathschmidt, who passed away this week surrounded by the family she so deeply loved. A daughter of Yonkers, the proud child of an Irish immigrant mother and a decorated World War II veteran, Patty lived a life rooted in service. As a nurse, as a mother of 8, and as a grandmother of 12, Patty poured her heart into caring for others. But perhaps her most lasting impact began in 2007, when her son Luke was deployed with the 82nd Airborne. Patty and her husband Jim founded United for the Troops, a nonprofit that has sent over 30,000 care packages to our men and women in uniform, each one a symbol of love, gratitude, the warmth of home, and sealed with a kiss. Patty's strength, her compassion, and her selfless spirit inspired all who knew her. I considered her a friend and will miss her dedication and commitment to our community. May her memory always be a blessing, and may she find peace with her son Luke in heaven. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor a true Hudson Valley hero, Ron Tochi, for his lifelong service to our veterans, our state, and our nation. A proud son of New Rochelle and a U.S. Army paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne, Ron Tochi brought the same grit and commitment to public service that he brought to the battlefield. For 20 years, he served in the New York State Assembly, including over a decade as chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee, where he authored more than 200 bills. Ron secured funding for state veterans' nursing homes, fought for those battling addiction, and never stopped working to uphold the dignity of our flag and those who defend it. He was then Commissioner of Veterans Affairs for the state of New York, and for 11 years, he recently served as director of the Westchester County Veterans Service Agency, where he fought to combat veteran homelessness and provide our veterans with the service and the dignity that they deserve. On behalf of a grateful community, I want to thank Ron for his decades of selfless leadership and for reminding all of us what it means to put service above self. Ron has been a tremendous friend and supporter and colleague, and look forward to what the future holds for him. I yield back.
The chair recognizes the member from Delaware, Representative McBride, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize Officer Robert Cisco, a school resource officer at Rehoboth Elementary, who has been named Delaware Mentor of the Month. For the last 3 years, Officer Cisco has mentored Anziel Rodriguez, a rising fourth grader, meeting weekly to talk, play checkers, and build a bond grounded in trust and encouragement. Before every move, Officer Cisco reminds Anziel to stop, take a moment, and think. Advice for a game of checkers and for life. This is what public service looks like: presence, patience, and purpose. Officer Cisco is helping build a culture of safety and connection in our schools, one relationship at a time. I thank him and the Cape Henlopen School District. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the extraordinary heroism of the North Shores Beach Patrol lifeguards, who while off duty sprang into action to save a swimmer in distress off the coast of Delaware. On the evening of July 3rd, lifeguards received an alert of a distressed swimmer and immediately texted one another. Racing back to the beach, Luke McDermott and 5 others searched beyond their patrol zone and swam over 300 yards in dangerous, choppy water to rescue a woman who had been adrift for 2 hours without a life jacket. Their swift response, courage, and deep sense of duty saved a life, and Delaware is indebted to them. Mr. Speaker, last week I stood alongside Senator Coons and Blunt Rochester at the Food Bank of Delaware, joined by advocates, providers, and families to speak out against the devastating food assistance cuts in the Republican budget. The most powerful voice that day was my constituent, Elizabeth Morales. Elizabeth is a biochemist, a widow, and a mom from Newark. After an unexpected layoff in 2023, SNAP gave her just enough support to keep food on the table for her daughter while she got back on her feet. It wasn't a handout, it was a lifeline. Now that lifeline is being ripped away from families like Elizabeth's. Under this budget, Delaware will lose tens of millions of dollars in SNAP support, putting more than 37,000 families at risk. These cuts don't just stop at the grocery store. They reach into our classrooms. Because up until this budget, kids were automatically enrolled in school meal programs through SNAP. But this budget breaks that link, creating a mountain of paperwork for families and schools and putting thousands of students at risk of going hungry. And we know a hungry child cannot learn. Nutrition fuels focus, growth, and lifelong success. These cuts don't just take away meals, they take away potential. As Elizabeth put it, quote, "This is theft, plain and simple. It's cruelty disguised as policy. It punishes families not for failing to work, but for living through a hard season. And I will not stop fighting until we restore this funding so that no one in Delaware goes hungry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Herodopoulos, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it is great to be here back in the People's House once again. Just a week ago, when I was celebrating with friends the July 4th holiday, watching the fireworks go off and celebrate the freedoms that we enjoy, many people actually came up to me in Palm Bay. In fact, one mom came up to me and said, "How could you vote to take away my child's Medicaid? He's disabled." And for about 5 minutes, I talked to her at length, talking about what this bill is versus what people are talking about, especially the media, especially those right now on my right. And to their who are great, I think, happiness, I told her that her child would not be left behind, that this bill keeps coverage for the most vulnerable, especially our disabled. And I literally pointed to her in the bill, looking at page 630 to 633. I implored her to simply read the bill and not believe some of the statements she read in the media or the scary text that were coming out. And a few days later, I heard back from her, and she said, "You were right. It's in the bill. My son will still be protected." And that was a really happy day for me because people are seeing the true story, moving beyond some of the bogus headlines and to the truth, because we owe it to those folks who are vulnerable to take care of them. We are a just and civil society that shows compassion, especially for folks who are in need. And when you read that bill closely on the page 630 to 633, it outlines if you're a senior in a nursing home, you're protected. If you're a child of low-income parents, you're protected. If you're a pregnant woman, you're protected. Those are important items. We made those promises to our most vulnerable. But we also sent a very clear message that if you are able-bodied, get out there and work. Be a part of the American dream, the American experience, and make sure that we're all playing on a level playing field. You know, we were recently at a hotel, and could you imagine that you walk into a place, you had to pay the full freight for that hotel room, and someone else who made the exact same amount of money didn't have to pay a dime because they either lied on the application or maybe they no longer did a check to verify what their income was. That's not fair. But the good news is that with this new bill, there are incentives to get back into the workplace. And the latest numbers that came out are that 10 million Americans are going to be going back to work. And the odds are they'll actually get health insurance paid for by their employer, or because they're earning more money, they can afford to do so. That's the American dream. It's not to be a ward of the state. It's to live the American dream, to be on this earth because God wanted us to be active members in our community, not a ward of the state. So these are common sense ideas in which jobs matter and dignity matters. And that's what we did in this bill. And the other overwhelming rhetoric I kept hearing over and over, this is somehow big tax cut for the rich. Again, for those people who don't know, the tax rate for the wealthiest Americans did not change. Did not change. And I want to make sure that echoes through the next few years, that they recognize the folks who are working and happen to be earning the most money will stay at the same exact tax rate. But what we did do is help out folks who were hardest hit the last 4 years by higher prices. Grocery stores, restaurants, their rent, of course, gasoline. Those were all up 20 and 30% when people were hurting. There was no tax relief in 2011 or 2021 or 2022. And now they're saying suddenly they want to give a tax relief to the middle class. They had the trifecta back in 2021 and 2022. They chose to do nothing. We stepped up and said, if you earn tips, if you earn overtime, and especially if you work for a lifetime and you earn Social Security, we're going to give you a tax cut. And some of those, in fact, are retroactive. That's real money in people's pockets, and we're moving this country forward. And so I am happy to be a part of the big, beautiful bill, to back up what we talked about in the campaign trail, and to have a leader in our president who's willing to put it all on the line for people who are in an unfortunate situation. That's the American dream, and that's why I am proud to support this bill. And I can't wait a year from now when they see some of the mistruths that were stated on this floor come to reality, that we protected the most vulnerable, and we stimulated this economy, and we grew this economy, and really took on the status quo in Washington, D.C. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Washington, Mr. Baumgartner, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to recognize and honor Larry Haskell, Spokane County prosecuting attorney, who recently announced his retirement after more than a decade of dedicated service. Larry's career is a testament to true public service. Before serving as a prosecutor, he was a B-1 and B-52 pilot in the U.S. Air Force and a lieutenant colonel who answered the call to duty after 9/11, serving bravely in Operation Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom. After retiring from the military in 2005, Larry returned to Spokane to continue his work in the prosecuting attorney's office, where he was elected in 2014 and has since dedicated himself to justice in our community. Over the years, Larry has tackled some of the toughest cases: murder, assaults, gun crimes, gangs, witness intimidation, always with integrity and unwavering commitment to public service. Larry once said that being elected to his office was one of the greatest honors of his life, and it's clear he poured his heart and soul into this work. But he also showed wisdom and humility, knowing when it is time to pass the torch. As Larry steps into retirement, I want to thank him for his courage, dedication, and service, both in uniform and in the courtroom. Spokane County and our entire region owe Larry Haskell a debt of gratitude. I congratulate Larry on a job well done and wish him all the best in his next chapter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today with a heavy heart, not just to speak, but to mourn, to honor, and to demand that we never grow numb to the unimaginable loss suffered by those who dedicate their lives to protecting ours. Every day, nearly 1 million volunteer and career firefighters across our country suit up, knowing they might not return home. They run toward danger when many others run away. They give up holidays, time with their children, and nights of sleep so we can live safely. Today, I rise to honor 3 of them, 3 men from the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue who answered the call of duty and paid the price for their courage in an act of senseless and evil violence. Battalion's Chief John Morrison and Frank Harwood were not only respected leaders in the fire service, they were pillars of the Coeur d'Alene community, proud husbands, fathers, and friends. They were the kind of men who showed up before anyone asked, who did the work no one saw, who led not with titles, but with strength and humility. Gabe Eckert, president of Local 710, recalled his last memory with John Morrison, just 2 men on the patio, quietly drinking beers and talking about their dads. That's who these men were, constantly striving to serve the public and the people closest to them. We lost more than firefighters, we lost role models. Engineer David Tisdale was also injured in the attack critically. He has now endured 3 major surgeries, and by God's grace, he is steadily recovering. David, if you're listening, stay strong. You carry the prayers of gratitude of a nation with you. Mr. Speaker, this violence was not just a tragedy, it was an outrage. An attack on these men was an attack on the very fabric of our community. That anyone would target them with such brutality should chill us to the bone. The deaths of Morrison and Harwood and the injury of Tisdale are a devastating reminder to the cost of service. To the loved ones mourning the brave men, no words will ever be enough, but may you find comfort in knowing their courage echoes far beyond Coeur d'Alene. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Subramaniam, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, congratulations to the 37 outstanding students in my district who accepted appointments to the nation's military academies. They just reported last week, and let me tell you, these are incredibly impressive young men and women. My district, Virginia's 10th, has an incredibly competitive process and nominates one of the most number of people to military academies of any district in the country. And these young men and women were able to get through our rigorous process by demonstrating leadership, patriotism, and a commitment to service. And to the students, thank you for your dedication, your courage, and your willingness to answer the call. We look forward to seeing the incredible impact you will have as future leaders of our armed forces. Mr. Speaker, we keep hearing the same thing about the big ugly bill the president signed last week, that we are keeping Medicaid for the people who need it and only kicking off able-bodied people. Well, let me tell you, this is simply not true. These cuts to people's benefits are a little sneaky. It's not a work requirement, it's a paperwork requirement. They want to inundate people who need Medicaid as a lifeline with paperwork that'll be difficult for them to do. These are folks with health issues, folks on Medicaid with disabilities, mothers and fathers with multiple jobs and kids, or without access to reliable broadband in a few cases. And the red tape imposed on Medicaid by this bill isn't meant to be a flaw, it's the whole point. That's why they've pushed it forward past the next election. We've seen this before. In Arkansas and Georgia, they promised to save taxpayer money with quote-unquote work requirements, but all they did was kick people off who actually needed it the most. And the employment rates didn't go up. Why? Because many people on Medicaid are already working. And who do you think is better at paperwork? Someone on disability who Medicaid was intended for, or someone who wants to defraud the system? Most of the waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid is actually from providers, not from the folks who need it. So no, the real fraud is this paperwork requirement, and we need to get rid of it. Mr. Speaker, I rise today out of deep concern for students across Virginia and the country. Right now, this administration is withholding nearly $7 billion in congressionally approved education funding, money meant for public schools, and these funds after-school programs, teaching, training, literacy programs, and more. And yet, without warning, the administration froze them, and the result has been delays and potential cuts and layoffs. School districts, including the ones that I represent, are now scrambling to fill unexpected budget gaps, and I've heard directly from educators in my district whose job will be on the line and whose students risk losing vital support if this funding isn't restored. It's our students who will pay the ultimate price, but it doesn't just stop there. The Department of Education has been painfully slow to respond to those seeking help, and my constituents have been waiting for months for the public service loan forgiveness that they are owed. And others have been placed on incorrect student loan repayment plans and subjected to poor treatment from loan providers, left frustrated and financially strained. The administration must release K-12 funding and allow the Department of Education to continue their work. Our students deserve better than this waste and red tape. Mr. Speaker, congratulations to former Miss Loudoun County, now Miss Virginia, Madison Whitbeck. Madison is a proud graduate of Riverside High School in Loudoun County, where she cultivated a love for the arts, and Madison will be spending the year traveling to over 70 elementary schools, teaching students curriculum on making health choices related to drugs and alcohol. And she will be beginning her work on the Arts for All initiative as well, seeking to expand access to the arts for students across the Commonwealth. So congratulations to Madison, and we look forward to seeing all the great things that she does. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I rise today to highlight a concern I've heard from many constituents: delays and uncertainty in the visa process at U.S. embassies, particularly in Islamabad. Families in my district have cases stuck in administrative processing with no clear timeline. These delays are keeping families apart, creating needless anxiety, and making it impossible to plan for the future. And just last week, this administration announced the firings of 1,300 staff at the State Department. That's 1,100 civil servants and 246 foreign service officers. And while these cuts may not directly impact those embassies' operations, they're only going to have a domino effect that's going to hurt every single embassy around the country and around the world. And so at the time of heightened conflict and global uncertainty, we should be investing in our diplomatic and consular capacities, not reducing them. And so I hope that the work in Islamabad is improved and so our constituents can be served better. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you very much. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Thompson, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to recognize a cherished institution, the Waterville Hotel in Waterville, Pennsylvania, as it marks 2 centuries of service to the Pine Creek Valley community. In 1825, Abraham Harris founded what was then known as the Harris Hotel, strategically positioned on Route 44 overlooking Little Pine Creek. It quickly became more than a simple roadside stop. It provided rest, refuge, and warmth for lumberjacks, hunters, fishermen, travelers, and politicians, traversing our rugged Pennsylvania wilds. As the logging and lumber industries flourished in the 19th century, so did the hotel's significance. It hosted community meetings, business affairs, social gatherings, and even served as a way station for elected officials, becoming an integral part of the region's political and civic fabric. Through the wars, prohibition, economic strangulation, and the decline of rail, the Waterville Hotel pressed on. Under the stewardship of generations, most notably under Jess and William Smith from 1933 to 1945, it reinvented itself, evolving along with its patrons and the purpose it served, the Pennsylvania wilds. Fast forward to 2023, when local residents Jason McConnell and Vanessa Brown, whose family's roots and ownership of the adjacent country store, joined forces with longtime friend Brad Weiland to revitalize both the hotel and the restaurant. Their vision has been rooted in pride and preservation, honoring family ties and restoring beloved menu items, including a throwback menu featuring the original Mountain Burger, a culinary emblem of community heritage. Today, the Waterville Hotel stands as a vibrant hub, serving hearty fare from burgers and fries to vegetarian dishes, complemented by local craft beers and wines. The interior is filled with photographs spanning generations, each snapshot a testament to traditions, memories, and the moments shared. For many, this hotel is far more than a place to eat or sleep. It's a community gathering place. Our own Cheers, as longtime staff member Dan Collar described, a place where locals and visitors alike return year after year, bound by a shared experience of belonging. The Waterville Hotel serves as a gateway to the spectacular Pine Creek Valley, the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon, and the Pine Creek Rail Trail. From summer activities like biking, hiking, kayaking, and fishing to winter pursuits such as snowmobiling and snowshoeing, guests make the hotel their base for outdoor adventures throughout the seasons. As we celebrate 200 years from its humble origins in 1825 to its enduring cornerstone status today, we honor not just a building but a living legacy woven into the heart of Waterville. It has cultivated community, supported local economies, and preserved a connection across generations. Looking ahead, under the stewardship of McConnell, Brown, and Weiland, and buoyed by devoted staff and loyal patrons, the Waterville Hotel embarks on its third century with the same spirit of resilience, innovation, and community pride that has carried it this far. Mr. Speaker, I invite my colleagues to join me in celebrating the Waterville Hotel's bicentennial, a symbol of heritage, community, and hope. May its doors open to new chapters for generations to come. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Klein, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor the Central Falcons softball team for their first ever state championship title. The heart of this historic victory was the junior left fielder Hadley Witherow, who made the catch of her life to seal the 4-1 win over King William for the Class II state title. The Falcons were led by Coach Timmy Wakeman and assistant coach Jamie Mance, who instilled belief in players like Kristen Hageman, whose bat sparked the offense, Veronica Gordon, who delivered key hits, and Karana Stottlemyre, who set the tone with her patience at the plate. Serenity Burnshire and Carson Burton added crucial doubles, and Vanessa Gordon's sacrifice fly RBI in the bottom of the fifth created another scoring play. While in the circle, Lexi Burkholder and Liz Bilbo combined for a stellar performance, supported by the steady glove of Emily Finks behind the plate. Together, they held off King William's powerful bats. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, please join me in celebrating this remarkable group, the Central Falcons softball team, and their unforgettable championship run. Mr. Speaker, today I rise to honor Christendom College, which has once again shown that excellence on the field can go hand in hand with achievement in the classroom. The United States College Athletic Association named Christendom the winner of the 2025 President's Cup, recognizing the nation's top academic performing athletic department. I commend Director of Athletics Patrick Quest and Assistant AD Joe Dotson for their outstanding leadership. Christendom's varsity teams posted a 3.51 GPA, with the senior student athlete class achieving a 3.61 average. A total of 45 student athletes, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, earned USCAA and NCR National Academic All-American honors. The 20 senior academic All-Americans include Josie Belleville, Regina Bonvisuto, Kate Brzezinski, Jude Burkett, Sean Corcoran, Joshua Cruz, David Ekenez, John Gunthorpe, Miranda Keller, Colleen Costin, Bridget McCauley, Mary Noble, Mary Sabotage, Lizzie Scarchilli, Andrew Snyder, Catherine Thomas, Michael Townsend, J.P. Sakanikis, Christopher Usher and Nicholas Ward, many excelling in multiple sports. 25 sophomores and juniors were also recognized for their academic excellence. Mr. Speaker, I congratulate Christendom on their 4th President Cup in 6 years, which reflects a deep commitment to forming student athletes who excel both intellectually and athletically. Mr. Speaker, today I rise to recognize the Salem High School boys lacrosse team, who made history this year by capturing their first ever VHSL state championship. They capped an incredible 2025 season with an 11-7 victory over Loudoun County. Along the way, they won the Region 4D championship with a 14-3 win over Jefferson Forest and claimed the Tommy Durandi Cup, achieving all 3 of their goals. Their journey was defined by resilience and determination. After falling short in last year's quarterfinals, they returned to defeat Broad Run 9-4 and upset 3-time defending champ Atlee in a hard-fought 7-5 semifinal. This historic run was powered by standout performances. Jackson Jones led with 37 goals and 47 assists. Holden Custer added 45 goals and 21 assists. Parker Dallas scored 42 goals with 36 assists, and Jackson Winiger contributed 24 goals and 26 assists. On defense, Ronnie Frith, Braden Hall, and Carson Garland combined for over 120 takeaways and 180 ground balls, while goalie Richard Hoff made 125 saves. Face-off specialist Ryan Warren won nearly 70% of his draws. Remarkably, 7 players earned first-team All-State honors. I commend Coach George Revercombe, his staff, and athletic director Drew Barrett. This championship reflects the spirit of Salem, a city that rallies behind its youth. Congratulations to the team, their families, and the Salem community. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. This critical legislation aims to safeguard the financial privacy and freedom of the American people. A central bank digital currency may sound like innovation, but under federal control, it becomes a powerful and dangerous tool for surveillance. This allows unelected bureaucrats to monitor and potentially restrict how Americans spend their hard-earned wages. Recently, we've seen alarming examples of this kind of overreach, from the Chinese Communist Party using its digital currency to track and control citizens, to Prime Minister Trudeau in Canada freezing the bank accounts of peaceful protesters. That kind of government power has no place in the United States. The Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act ensures the Federal Reserve cannot issue a CBDC without explicit authorization from Congress. It protects financial privacy and upholds the constitutional rights of every American. I yield back. All right, the chair now recognizes the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Bean, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Duval! Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Speaker, football fans across the Southeast will recognize that as the rallying cry for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You may wonder how many U's are in that rallying cry. The answer is no one really knows. How about that? But everybody knows that there's one A in that rallying cry. And that's the reason, Mr. Speaker, I want to focus on that A, because for the first time ever, Mr. Speaker, Duval County Schools has received an A grade from the state of Florida Department of Education. It's a big deal. It's a big deal in Northeast Florida. This monumentous accomplishment reflects the hard work and unwavering commitment of our students, educators, administrators, and families and parents. It reflects years of progress, innovation, and a community-wide effort to educational excellence. Under the leadership of Superintendent Dr. Christopher Bernier, the school board, and the steadfast efforts of teachers and staff across the district, Duval County has not only met the state's rigorous standards, it has surpassed them, Mr. Speaker. To the parents who have stayed involved, to the students who rose to the challenge, and to every member of Team Duval, thank you. Your success is a shining example of what happens when a community believes in its children and backs that belief with action. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. Duval you can't say it enough. Mr. Speaker, I'm a pirate. Arr. You might think of a pirate as someone who takes what isn't theirs, but in Nassau County, Florida, a pirate is someone who earns everything they've got with grit, heart, and honor. I rise today, Mr. Speaker, as a proud pirate, a graduate of Fernandina Beach High School and a product of Nassau County Schools, because today, Mr. Speaker, I rise with great pride to recognize an historic achievement. Under the leadership of Superintendent Dr. Kathy Burns and the Nassau County School Board and a tremendous support team, Nassau County Schools has been named #1 in the state of Florida by the Department of Education. #1 goes to Nassau County. And more impressive, every single school in the district earned an A rating from that Department of Education. It's not about grades, Mr. Speaker. It's a reflection of community vision, a commitment to excellence, and a belief in every student's potential. To our teachers, thank you for sparking curiosity and building confidence. To our administrators, thank you for your steady leadership. And to our families and parents, thank you for your support at home, making them do that homework. And to our students, you are the reason we celebrate. You're the future of Nassau County and America and of this great nation. With your hard work and determination, the future is bright as ever. Of course, Mr. Speaker, I will always be partial to the Pirates, but I know they're not the only champions in town. So here's to all of our 17 schools in Nassau County and all 12,000 of our incredible students. So let's go Warriors, let's go Hornets, Flashes, and let's go Pirates. Your pride and passion and your pursuit of excellence make our county and our nation and our community much stronger. Mr. Speaker, when people think of a strong foundation, they often think of something built on rock, not clay. But in Clay County, Florida, we're proving them wrong, because here the foundation that lasts is built on education. Today, I rise, Mr. Speaker, to proudly recognize Clay County District Schools in Northeast Florida for once again earning an A rating from the Department of Education. This continued success reflects the dedication of students, educators, administrators, and families working together to achieve excellence. Under the leadership of Superintendent David Broski and a committed school board and a tremendous support team, Clay County has built a culture of winning where teachers are supported, students are challenged, and families are engaged. To everyone who makes this success possible, thank you. Clay County doesn't just aim for excellence, it delivers it. Congratulations, Clay County and Clay County Schools. Your achievement is a win that improves that excellence doesn't just come from a stone, it's forged in clay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
I thank the gentleman from Florida for his remarks. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess until noon today.